The wait is finally over, and now it's time for me to explain to you the entire story behind this chapter 3 of Poppy Playtime. So get ready, because probably there's still a couple of details that you missed about this new chapter. Chapter 3 begins with a cinematic where we see Catnap crawling throughout what appears to be a duct. In reality, after the train crash in Chapter 2, we were knocked unconscious, giving Catnap enough time to reach and take over our body. Catnap drops us through the duct to our fate. Fortunately, we land with no damage and we start across obstacles and escape the trash compactor. Thus, venturing deeper into the factory, we find a VHS tape where Miss Harper expresses deep concern about the girl she wanted to adopt. The girl was suffering terrible effects from inhaling the red gas, burning her insides and causing dreadful nightmares. After being disturbed by the VHS, we engage in some parkour, and finally we make our first contact with the Project Playtime phone. This is the same phone from a few months ago, but this time it has a friendly voice belonging to a child named Oli. It's not entirely clear who Oli is, but he seems to be a new ally in this adventure. Oli guides us towards an escape where we must ride a cable car, leading directly to Playcare. On the way, we discover a poster mentioning a place called Playing Park, hinting at a new location yet to be seen in the game. After interesting conversations and glimpses of various underground landscapes, we finally reach Playcare. Chapter 1: Playcare. At Playcare, Oli seems to play a crucial role in the Poppy Playtime story, expressing a strong interest in keeping us alive and ending Experiment 1006. Oli instructs us to go under the Smiling Crit statue, making the beginning of our adventure. We are set on a quest to find the key to enter the production area and divert all the gas, drawing Catnap's attention, preventing him from using his deadly gas and ultimately defeating him. In this production area, we obtain the new Grab Pack 2.0, featuring notable improvements like longer cables for a greater reach, a jetpack to fall from heights without taking fall damage, a flashlight, and the ability to switch between hands. In this area, we also unlock the new Purple Hand, allowing us to overcome various obstacles and reach the gas production machine. The only problem is that someone cuts the power just as we divert the gas. Oli reassures us that all is not lost. In Home Sweet Home, the building where children used to sleep, we can find a generator that connects to this area. Our mission now is to find a way to connect the other generators in other Playcare buildings to redirect the gas. Chapter 2: Home Sweet Home. Oli hands us the key, and our journey in Home Sweet Home begins. This section starts with disturbing facts. At the entry of the building, we can see a curtain of red gas that we must cross without a mask. Once through, our grab bag mysteriously disappears, leaving us defenseless. We navigate through long corridors filled with rooms, until we find radio broadcasting reports about a disturbing event. The report mentions the lifeless body of a child found in Mr. Elliot Ludwig's room, missing organs. No one knows exactly why this happened. Everyone sees Elliot as a sweet man who would be incapable of doing something like that, giving us the theory that someone implanted that body inside his house to frame him. Later on, we begin to see horrifying things within the hallways of this place. The walls talk about how we're guilty, so guilt starts to consume us because of what we did. We stumble upon a room with a TV, where we play another VHS tape. The tape starts with a dialogue between a Playco supervisor and the player, discussing the guilt that drove us to return years later to uncover what really happened in the factory. Turns out, we weren't supposed to do any of this, as the factory now belongs to these toys. The monitor then transforms into a nightmare version of Huggy Wuggy, forcing us to run. Huggy catches us, but before it can kill us, we wake up from the nightmare, realizing it was just an effect of the red gas. The nightmares were probably created by player, consumed by guilt, to remind him of the sinister place he was in. Now, with the opportunity to explore Home Sweet Home, we discover interesting things, such as a VHS tape discussing a new experiment, Experiment 1322, involving a child named Kevin. Kevin appears to be crucial in the story. We also see Kissy Missy in a room looking at a childhood photo, and another VHS tape that explains what happens when a child leaves the Playcare after being selected by a scientist. We learn a bit about Samuel Lee's fate. These sequences may serve to depict life inside the Playcare. After connecting two doors in this sequence, we reach a generator, and once connected, we can leave the area. However, before stepping out of Home Sweet Home, Kissy Missy catches us, pinning us to the ground, and if it wasn't for Poppy, we would be dead already. Poppy asks Kissy Missy to stop. Poppy explains to us that this place makes Kissy quite tense, and together they only want to stop Experiment 1006 due to all the atrocities and tortures it has committed over the years. They need our help to achieve this. Poppy then provides some context about what happened, mentioning that the prototype initially trapped her in the glass box, where she spent a long time until our arrival. Poppy clarifies that we cannot escape yet until we defeat the experiment. However, due to that, we first need to get rid of Catnap, as all the places are basically his hunting ground. Predator type shit. We bid farewell to Kissy Missy and Poppy, as they cannot stay there for much longer. We receive a call from Oli, informing us that the next places we need to go are the school and the playhouse. Chapter 3: School and Playhouse. Oli explains that we haven't even completed half of the work yet. We first need to go to the school to connect the generator. Once inside, we discover that we're not as alone as we thought. A new monster appears, Miss Delight, created with flesh and toys by Playtime Co. Teacher Delight was designed with several sisters to educate children without the need for real teachers. Our mission is to disconnect several batteries to reach a place where the generator is located. Throughout the journey, we hear how the teacher knows who we are and that we work in the factory. She questions how we are alive, as we should have died considering everything that happened. The teacher repeatedly tells us to leave because Catnap dislikes our presence. Once we activate the generator, the teacher finally appears to initiate a chase. Throughout the persecution, we have to stare directly at her face to keep her static, otherwise she'll move directly towards us and kill us. After solving all the puzzles, the teacher dies, crushed by a huge gate, allowing us to continue exploring without any problems. Now, with the teacher dead, we finally find the new hand, the orange hand. This new hand allows us to shoot 5 flares that reload automatically, which is going to come in handy for the next mission. We go through some caves where we find the tape, and the scene where we can see the gigantic statue of bodies created by Catnap. This statue is the same one that we saw in the trailers. Once through this place, we reach a door that leads us to the playhouse. Inside the playhouse, there are many mats, slides, and places where children used to play with Smiling Critters plush toys. We find a tape that captures a scientist reviewing Experiment 1188, also known as Catnap. The scientist explains that the cat had been in its new body for at least 4 years when the event of August 8, 1995 occurred. So, the cat's likely creation dated around 1991, a perfect match with many other monsters from the Bigger Buddies initiative. In the tape, Catnap, the purple cat, kept repeating that the prototype would save us, but the scientist kept interrupting to make it clear that this would be its new home and life, so he needed to get used to it. We continue advancing. After connecting several buttons, we enter a platform and manage to reach a longer stretch to cross an old abandoned pool, reaching the sanctuary within the playhouse. Here we come face to face with Dog Day, a monstrous version of the dog tied in one of the cells. It is known that everyone must worship Experiment 1006, or Catnap will do to them what he did to Dog Day, cut them in half for not following its commands. Dog Day recognizes us as the angel of Poppy, sent to save him and the other toys. However, he seems to have lost all hope and insists that we need to escape if we want to be alive. Dog Day mentions that Catnap forces them to follow the prototype's instructions, essentially seeing it as a god. In return, if they follow the rules, they get to eat something due to their unstable appetite. After talking to Dog Day, hundreds of smiling critters appear to take control of him, triggering a chase where Dog Day desperately tries to catch us. Fortunately, he fails, and we escape the Playhouse, leaving Dog Day to his fate. Back at Playcare, Ollie calls us again, saying that we're almost done. We just need to go to a giant building, a court, where he gives us a key and leads us to the Chapter 4, Counselor's Office. Before entering the building, Ollie explains that when Catnap was a child, the experiment 1006 saved him. Since then, Catnap seems to view the prototype as a god or hero, providing some context as to why it adores it so much. Once inside, we realize that this place looks like an office with desks, where executives and a lot of Playcare staff used to work. It's not a particularly colorful place, but it's quite interesting, as it's where Playco scientists evaluated the performance of each infant. We head to a location to get another battery, but are interrupted by Catnap, who hits us, takes off her mask, and makes us inhale all the red smoke, leading to a new dream. In the dream, we recall how we arrived at the factory in the first place, and the memories of life inside Playcare, witnessing what happened to the children. As we traverse to the smoke, the dream emphasizes our guilt for what happened to the experiments. We also see Huggy, and this time, Experiment 1006 appears as a reminder that it is the true final boss of this story. So, it's not over yet. When the dream ends, we wake up and receive a call, not from our friend Ollie, but from Catnap. With a raspy voice, Catnap warns us to stay away from the daycare if we don't want to die, indicating that we're close to Chapter 5, the end. In the final part of Chapter 3, after connecting the last generator and disconnecting 2 cables to power a blue battery, we must take this battery to the gas production room. Here, we can finally move the gas to the left. We return to the location to move the gas, but this time Catnap appears and starts spraying his red smoke everywhere, causing us to flee to an elevator to hide from him. Catnap transforms into a much more terrifying, thin, and horrible version, likely caused by the red gas. While ascending in the elevator, we see him staying behind, climbing through a grill to try to catch us. Upstairs, we find a security room with another VHS tape. We listen to a conversation between scientist Harley and Experiment 1006. Here, Harley is pleased with the progress. We also discover that the prototype also finds joy in the advancements. Finally, its voice is revealed to be a combination of many others. So his voice is every character? I don't know, but this seems undefined. There has to be more. After this, the final battle against Catnap begins, where we have to divert the smoke in the room to avoid getting killed and activate some generators in the process. After that, Catnap appears to try to kill us, but we electrocute him, causing him to burn completely. Experiment 1006 then appears in the scene, killing Catnap, and Catnap thought it was his god. Poor kitty, thought wrong. After returning to the elevator, we can finally divert the gas. Here we encounter Poppy again, who brings a VHS tape and says that after all we've been through, we've once again overcome the impossible. As a reward, Poppy says we deserve to know the truth and plays the tape with recordings from August 8, 1995. It shows how all the monsters, including Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, Kissy Missy, Catnap, and others, initiated a massive massacre throughout the factory, killing and eating all the employees, both guilty and innocent. Everyone paid that day, and it was a massacre that completely wiped out all the staff, regardless of their position in the factory. Poppy regrets this situation, mentioning that it was caused by Experiment 1006 alongside Catnap. Out of guilt, she believes it's her duty to try to recreate what remains. Kissy Missy appears once again to help us descend in the elevator, since now we have to continue our journey. and Kissimissy will stay to activate the door. Once inside the elevator, Poppy explains that there's another danger to face underground. However, she's interrupted by Kissy's screams, who seems to have been attacked by something. We hear her desperate cries, and Poppy says we'll come back to save her. Unfortunately, it's too late, as the screams intensify, and then the credits begin, implying that Kissy may have met a tragic end, something we will likely explore further in the next chapter.